Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today. And though you've come through many obstacles.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Amphibia, episodes 3 and possibly on. And I say that because I might want to do more than one episode today. I just might be in the mood for that. As I've said last time, I'm very excited to actually get to this, surprisingly. And I might want to do more than one episode. Especially after we got some big lore heavy hints last time. With this robot that seems to be following them. I'm genuinely curious what that's about. But yeah, so far this season, at least for now, seems to be a road trip season. We're heading to Newtopia and just having random adventures along the way. Random little experiences and whatnot, so I don't know what's going to happen next in that regard. Anything could really happen with that. But yeah, I'm enjoying this so far. And again, that's weird to say. And I talked about this last time, but just briefly touch on it again here. I dropped this show originally because one of the episodes upset me, but also I just felt it wasn't like doing as much. And even throughout a lot of season 1, after I picked it back up, I still felt like it just wasn't quite hitting the same notes for me as other shows like Owl House did. And it eventually did, by the end of the season, pick itself up extremely well. There were a lot of episodes that actually were really great. And especially with Sasha being introduced and everything, that helped a lot as well. So coming into season 2, I was actually genuinely excited. And after seeing these first couple episodes, even though they haven't always been like the best necessarily, I'm still very excited to get to more of this series. I'm still very excited to see more. And again, especially with the little hints of stuff that they've been giving us, that they've been dripping throughout this road trip so far. We're going to Newtopia, and that's going to be interesting as well for a number of reasons. Just to see what more they do with this world. We've seen frogs and toads, and we've seen newts. But to actually like get a stronger focus on that and all is going to be interesting. I really just don't know what to expect. As I've said before, there are a couple things I know about that comes in either this season and or the next. But that's just because like it had been talked about so much on social media is impossible to avoid. Because the fans of this series are ravenous. They will talk your ear off, and they will not care about spoilers if they get the chance. It's almost as bad as One Piece fans. With just having to avoid spoilers. Because you can hide all the spoiler tags and stuff on Twitter, and you'll still get spoiled because people don't use the spoiler tags. You'll still see the posts because you'll have no idea they're coming because there's nothing in the actual text to block that you'll have to work off of. So you'll still be able to see spoilers. It's ridiculous. But yeah. I can't wait to see where this road trip goes. We'll probably see Marcy at some point during this season. We should, at least, based on the little bit of context I have for that. And I'm just excited to see how this season steps it up from the last one. In terms of general episode segments, but also in terms of the overall story. And again, I do know a little tiny bit about some points to where it's going. But I don't know everything, and I don't have all the context. So I'm still mostly blind. I just know certain things. And again, I know them mostly out of context anyway. Like I just saw like a screenshot here or someone mentioning it there. So yeah. I wish I was going into it more blind than I was, but at this point there's just, I'm trying my best to avoid spoilers, but it's been very hard. And even before, it's like a lot of the stuff I found out when I wasn't watching the series, when I had dropped it already. So yeah, there's that you have to account for too, when I didn't think I was necessarily going to get back into it. Excuse me. So, that being said, we are going to get into this, see what this episode or episodes has in store for us, however many we end up watching. I'm just going to kind of go until I feel it's right to end, like we've done before for other things. Until I feel like I'm good at where it ends, I think we'll just continue to go. Though I will say, episodes 4 and 5, if we do get to those, the site I got them from had them separated by segment, so it's like 4A and then 4B. And I think the episode also had them like listed weird, maybe, or the website had them listed weird. I don't know. But either way, they're separated, so I'll have to change the video multiple times here, just letting you know ahead of time. I got them in order though, so it should be all good. It's just, yeah. But either way, we are going to get this started, so let us just do so. Why waste any more time? When the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode or episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. There was some good stuff in there. Some like really good stuff, like legitimately, not even joking, not exaggerating or anything. Like that was a really good set of episodes. And yeah, it's just like after the Gravity Falls episode, it's like that's a good point to end off. It just worked. So let's talk about these. So first off, we had Truck Stop Polly and a caravan named Desire for episode 3. Truck Stop Polly. Polly is being a little annoying, so she overhears her family while they're at a truck stop talking bad about her, and she decides to leave and not join them on the rest of the trip without hearing, the actual rest of the sentiment, which is like, oh, you don't actually mean that, and everything. Like I said while watching, this kind of idea has been done before. The entire kind of idea of mishearing or only hearing part of a sentiment that's said about you, like this has been done in like Gravity Falls and plenty of other things. I think it's been done in Owl House even. But the point is, it's been done before. It's a very common trope. So it kind of relies on how well it's written, how into the characters you are, how well it's written, how well it's handled, all of that jazz. And here it was okay. It wasn't anything bad. I had no issue with it. There were some good jokes in the episode, like with Soggy Joe, and the fact that the rock that looked like Polly ended up being an egg for a bird, which somehow became very fucking huge, very fucking fast. Like, how the hell did that happen? It's just like, comes out of the egg, all of a sudden, growth spurt, just instantly. I don't know, but yeah, it was a fun episode and had some cool stuff in it. Good idea, I guess, but again, it wasn't like anything special. After that, we had a caravan named Desire, in which we had the playwright Renee Frogers, voiced by Susan Egan, which, as I mentioned in the reaction, she did Megra from Disney's Hercules. She was also Rose Quartz in Steven Universe, on top of being in a couple Studio Ghibli films. She did a great job. And it was an interesting segment for episode 3, with Hop Pop getting to live his dream of being an actor, but also having to choose between his dream and doing the right thing and stopping these actors and playwrights from robbing each town blind. It was really fun. There was some goofy humor in it. Hop Pop acting was funny, and yeah, it was enjoyable. But all in all, episode 3 was just kind of good. It wasn't great, it was good. Then we get to episode 4. 4A was Quarreler's Pass. It's revealed they're about halfway to Newtopia, so I guess they're probably going to get there in episode 8. Based on that. Somewhere in there. Episode 8, maybe somewhere around episode 9, possibly. But Sprig and Polly are being siblings, basically. They're fighting, they're arguing, and Hop Pop and Anne are having enough of it. They come upon a place called Quarreler's Pass, which is basically a split in the road. It splits into 2 places and then comes back at the end. You put the people who are quarreling off into one direction while you go into the safer direction. So Polly and Sprig go off, and they get through most of it pretty darn well, until they end up coming to a cave in which there's these quarreling siblings themselves, a cat-dog-like situation of 2 beings being in one form. They're these axolotl-like worms, or worm, I guess, since, again, it's one body with just 2 heads, one on each side. And they're bickering and everything while trying to eat Sprig and Polly, but because of that, it allows Sprig and Polly to use their powers of imitation, of impressionism, to be able to trick the worms and escape. Meanwhile, Anne and Hop Pop, we don't get to see much of their entire thing with this segment. Really, all we see is that Hop Pop keeps asking Anne about if she has a boyfriend back home, and keeps trying to give her advice about that. And she's just not having any of that. She keeps throwing him off the cart because he keeps asking about that, which is funny. But yeah, we don't see a lot of that. Quarreler's Pass was fun. It wasn't anything, like, again, super special. But I enjoyed it. But then we get to Toadcatcher, and this one was probably my favorite episode of this set. And yeah, I know you guys probably expected that because it's a Sasha episode, but just even beyond that, it was just really cool. So Sasha's training, she claims to get her revenge on Anne, but even Grime understands that it's like, oh no, you just want your friend back. And it's like, yeah, it's pretty obvious. But Grime is just kind of lost it. He's gotten lazy and fat and growing out a beard for some reason. And yeah, it's just there's someone coming to the door and I hate that. But yeah, it's just, okay, I think they're delivering something. Yeah, okay. Dog will shut up in a second. Okay, that's fine. I just didn't want to have to talk to anyone. But yeah, he's kind of let himself go. And the only ones left with them, the only other soldiers with them, are Percy and Braddock. And they're sent off to get some food. But while there, we find that someone has been hunting after Grime. He's wanted, and someone from Newtopia has been sent to hunt him. Why, I don't know. Like, we never actually got that information. We don't know why Grime is connected to Newtopia and why they are now hunting him down. But when we get there, when Percy and Braddock get there, we see that there's this Newt general there named Yunnan. She makes sure you remember her name. And she is just a joy. Like, I'm not even joking or anything. She is actually really fun and entertaining, and I just really love her right away. She's over the top and silly, but she's also really cool at the same time. Also, her sharp fangs are like horrifying in the most excitingly fun way, if that makes any sense. Um, I enjoy her personality and everything. So she ends up finding out about everything when listening into Percy and Braddock talking, and goes to confront Grime and Sasha. There's a little bit of a chase, a little bit of a fight, and eventually they do manage to outsmart her. Yunnan is washed away by the river, and Grime and Sasha are both revitalized in their goals and missions. So that's really interesting. It's a really exciting episode, really fun. Yunnan is introduced as a new character who is definitely going to be returning, and definitely is a pretty exciting character. She's really good. And we get to see more stuff with Sasha and Grime, which is always awesome. Yeah, I really loved it. And then we get to episode 5. So 5A was Swamp and Sensibility. And so this one was really interesting. It gave us some lore on Wally. One-Eyed Wally is found in Ribbitvale, the richest town in the valley, I think they said. They go there just to check it out, and they end up finding Wally there and find out that he actually belongs to the Ribbiton family, one of the richest frogs in all of Amphibia, frog families. And the thing is, his family doesn't know what he's really like and what he wants to be like, and he's hiding it from them. Anne decides to try and get involved for Wally's sake, but, meddling. And it causes problems to where Wally and his father end up having to face in a duel sports game, basically. Anne agrees to help Wally in it, and they do win. Anne and Wally do win. But it's kind of gone into that Wally still loves his father and still wants to be part of the family. He just wants his father to accept him for who he is. His father does end up doing so, and everything goes well. It is a very positive spin on this kind of thing, because in real life, this very much does not happen like this. A lot of times, if your parents are not accepting you for who you really are, and they try to force you to be a certain way, they're not going to accept you after something like this. They're not just going to turn around and accept who you are. It doesn't work like that. Believe me, speaking from experience on that. It's just it's a show, and it's marketed towards kids. I understand that, so they have to make it all nice. But because there is that personal aspect to it that does drag it down a little bit for me. But it was still a very fun episode. Still, again, gave some interesting lore on Wally's character. I enjoyed it enough. And then we have Wax Museum, which is the Gravity Falls episode. As I said, I had known about this. It's one of those things that it's kind of hard not to know about, because it was everywhere. People were constantly talking about it. Like, when I had originally dropped the show and everything, and I wasn't watching anymore at that point, I didn't know if I was even going to come back to it. So I didn't know to avoid spoilers as heavily. And so I found out about this. And I didn't know the context of anything. I didn't know about the wax turning people into wax statues. But I just knew that there was an episode that featured Gravity Falls characters as frogs. And I had seen an image of the frog Grunkle Stan before. Obviously, things are a little different, and the curator and Frog Zeus, well, mostly the curator, Frog Zeus appears for literally one joke. But he's definitely more evil than Grunkle Stan is. Like, Grunkle Stan did some questionable things, but he never went, like, full-on evil like that. Like, he had a limit. But the curator definitely more of a bad guy, and yeah, Anne sees that he has this CD player, and she wants it, so she makes a deal with him to act as this freak, basically, this freak show situation for him to get the CD player in exchange. It ends up being a trap. She's going to be turned into wax. And so the planters have to help her. They help her break out, and she is actually covered in wax, and so they have to help melt that off of her. And apparently, they blatantly say it: the curator is killed. um, after melting the monsters and creatures that were encased in wax that he had, after the planters do that, they carry him off into a room, and it looks like blood comes out from beyond the door, from under the door. He says, "Oh, don't worry, folks, it's just wax." But then they blatantly say later on, it's like, "Oh no, he's very dead." And it's like, yeah, he probably is. Just considering that probably wasn't actually wax. That was probably, honestly, that was probably their way of censoring it. Recently on Twitter and stuff, Alex Hirsch revealed like a bunch of like the behind the scenes stuff of when he created Gravity Falls and how they had to censor a lot of stuff and how a lot of it came down to wording. That things had to be worded or presented in a specific way to avoid Disney's censorship issues and all. So he wasn't able to get around some of that. And that was probably a call to that in a way. By saying like, "Oh no, don't worry, it's just wax," when we know, and yet it blatantly says he died, that was probably blood. And it was probably supposed to be blood, but I'm sure it was written in there that it was quote unquote wax, as maybe a reference to that. I could believe that. I 100% could believe that. Because that just seems like the kind of joke as well you would see in Gravity Falls anyway. Yeah, it was a really, really fun episode with Alex Hirsch reprising his role with the voice and all. It was fun. It was really fun. And as a big fan of Gravity Falls, I really did love that one. And again, it felt like a great place to end off, like with a big like episode referencing one of the biggest cartoons of the modern age. It's like, yeah, that's a good place to leave off. And it's also funny. Alex Hirsch has such a major role, like at supervising and helping out with the Owl House because Dana is his partner and everything. And he also had like this notable of a reference with Gravity Falls in Amphibia as well. It's like these shows are all kind of connected, and all the creators are like all friends and all kind of like working together and supporting each other, and it's awesome. I really love that. That's a big thing with like modern animation, modern cartoons. A lot of these creators are on each other's sides and are supportive of each other, are friends of each other and all, or even closer in the case of like Alex Hirsch and Dana. I really love that. And it's cool getting to see these shows reference each other. Even if Gravity Falls ended like years ago, it's still. These were fun. I really enjoyed these episodes, even if not all of the segments were as amazing. None of them were bad. I didn't dislike any of these segments. Some were just better than others. But I would love to hear your thoughts. Tell me in the comments below, what do you think of these episodes of Amphibia? And yeah, we'll continue on next time. Maybe we'll do more episodes next time as well, like more than one episode next time. I don't know. We don't have to, but maybe we will. It'll just depend on how I'm feeling. I just wanted to do multiple episodes today because I was just really excited to see more of this. And hey, we got some good stuff. We got some good Sasha stuff. We got Yunnan, who is just going to be a joy to watch. We got the Gravity Falls stuff. All kinds of fun things. So like I said, tell me your thoughts down below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.